Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, it's Scott Hammond with 100% Humboldt with my new best friend, Linda Lorvig. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Scott.
How's your day?
It's great. It's good to be here with you.
Hey, here with you. So we're going to talk about this Authors Festival, but first, let's talk about you. I want to hear about the Linda story. How did you get to Humboldt, or are you native? I really don't know a lot about you or your background.
Actually, I've been here 50 years.
Wow. Almost local.
Almost local. I do feel like it sometimes. I can see those
That's
places.
Ferndale.
Remember when
Yeah.
that place was here and now it's gone?
Oh, yeah.
We moved here in 1974. My husband graduated from college in southern Utah
Oh,
and put out applications he was a plan checker, building inspector for the city.
oh, wow.
So we moved here, and I was raised in Southern California, and I didn't want to live in California anymore because it was hot
Right.
until we moved to Humboldt County.
And then it's not hot.
And then it's not hot.
Today's hot. It's 66 degrees out there. It's a steamer.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's what we tell people
Yeah.
in the summertime.
Don't come here. It rains all the time. You wouldn't like Humboldt. It's just
Yeah.
horrible rain.
Yeah.
The people are nice, but yeah, it's too hot.
That's what we used to say on a nice day. Oh, no, they're all going to want to move here on this
Yeah.
nice, clear, sunny day. So, and then in 1975, I got a job with South Bay School Library.
Oh.
And I had worked in a college library, and that's what I had wanted to do, but children. And I worked at South Bay School Library for 32 years.
Oh, that's great.
And then my kids are grown and gone, and
Now I have all these other kids. In
I
these
have all these
classrooms.
other kids, yeah.
That's wonderful.
All these others that I can claim a little bit to be
I love
mine.
it. I think that's legacy stuff. We all remember that janitor, that cool teacher, that cool librarian or whomever, teacher's aide that
You're
made a
right.
difference.
You're right. In fact, today, I love it when I do run into a former student because I don't recognize
And
them.
they have kids and grandkids.
They're grown. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when I retired. I said, when I'm seeing the grandkids of the kids I started with coming,
Oh, what?
I've been there for a while.
Yeah.
So today I had to drop off something at Humboldt County Office of Ed, and the front receptionist, it was a guy, and I told him my name, and he goes, "Mrs. Lorvig, you are my librarian."
No way.
And I went, "Give me your name."
Yeah.
And when he told me, I went, "Oh my gosh."
I
So
remember you.
yes. Yes.
You're a bigger version of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a rec major at Humboldt State and then went over and worked at Dow's Prairie School and St. Mary's. And all these kids at St. Mary's were just little, and now they're just grown, grandparents.
Uh-huh.
So it's generational and weird and cool.
Yeah.
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 What part of Southern California are you from?
Barstow,
Barstow.
the Mojave Desert.
I know it. Yeah, I know it a little bit. Yeah. We're from San Diego, so we used to
I do.
go up to the desert and camp and smoke weed and drink
Yeah.
and shoot guns and whatever.
Well,
Howl at the moon.
that sounds like the Barstow Desert I know.
Yeah. During our time at Humboldt, we did a 3-week field trip in the desert with a program called Cluster. It was an alternative ed, hippie, feral child, hippy-dippy way to get units, which turns out a really wonderful education. But one of the stops was outside of Barstow at almost like a Hotel California compound that we stayed there. It was probably a youth hostel or something, but it was, and then the next morning we were on the way to Joshua Tree.
Uh-huh.
And so from Death Valley, kind of on the way,
Yeah.
and it was fun. So what brought you to Humboldt?
My husband's job.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you go with him to school up in Utah then?
We did. I graduated from high school in 67, and we got married in 69. And then in 1970, he got drafted,
Oh,
of
wow.
course, And because of that, which he was very fortunate, he didn't have to go to Vietnam.
Okay.
He was in North Carolina. And after that, the GI Bill helped him
wow.
to finish going to school. And he
So
knew
engineering, civil
engineering. Yeah.
Wow. What part of Southern Utah?
Cedar City, which is about 2 hours south of Salt Lake City,
Okay.
close to St. George.
Which is Arches National Monument.
Yeah.
Down that way.
Yeah.
On that same trip, we went there. It's all connecting, folks.
Well, that's what I say. Barstow, we were married in Barstow, and we moved to Las Vegas, and then
Wow.
Cedar City. So all of that desert area.
So was he a city planner here for City of Eureka?
He was yes.
Okay.
Well, he wasn't a planner. He was a plan checker and a building inspector.
Wonder if I would, we were county, so I would know him. Probably. Anyway.
Mhm.
Well, hey, welcome.
Yeah.
So tell us, now you're retired.
I am.
What was the funnest, let's go back to your career. What was the funnest part of being the librarian?
Oh my gosh. every day. I mean, I probably was one of the few that went to work every day, just happy to be at work.
Wow.
But I started doing story times every week.
Okay.
So doing the story times every week was great. And meeting all the students and parents and staff,
Read a few stories in your day.
I did. And I used to I have friends that are still good friends of mine. And I said, I had the best job. I didn't have to do report cards.
Yep.
I didn't have to do grading papers.
That's cool.
I just did the library.
I like it.
Yeah.
So we have 9 kids. We homeschooled most of them. And the last 2 we threw out because they were just too, Joni just threw the towel and she said, "You're fired. Go go to Worthington School. You're fired."
Oh, Worthington. Yeah.
Yeah. Nick's studio was right by Worthington, just before he moved to this velvet luxury studio.
I feel very professional in here.
It's very it is. It's a whole pro deal.
Yeah.
There are exceptions to that. You're looking at one, but that's okay. Anyway, where was I? So reading is a big thing. It
is.
When you read that book to somebody, it checks a lot of boxes on a sensory level, right?
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
And they connect to it.
And when you can have students come into the library and ask for a special book or see the boys that don't want to read, but you can find a book that they like.
Yeah.
And especially when Harry Potter came out, of course, that really clicked with everybody.
That was a big thing for reading, right?
It was.
Kids that probably like The Hobbit when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings was, oh man, I never read a book, but I'll read that 5 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you can seeing your eyes light up about something, seeing those students, boys, the girls were great too, but just to know you got a boy connect with a book or a series or something, they were just so excited.
Are girls generally still more voracious readers? Is that necessarily true? Is that a perception or is that true?
I think it is a perception, but I would think it a little bit in general that the girls tend to be. You still have to kind of encourage the boys. There's always a special boy or somebody who reads.
Oh, yeah.
We had one student who read, he'd check out a book, 2 books at the end of the day, and he'd read both of those books and come in the next morning, 2 more. So you've got those special, you've got those.
We have one. His name's Jesse. Hi, Jesse. He's in Amsterdam today or tonight. I don't know what time it is. He would go see Joy at the McKinleyville Library. And in the summer program, they would have a round table pizza, would do these little mini pizzas.
Yeah.
If you'd read a chapter, you'd get a mini pizza.
A chapter.
And I'm going, and so Joy, we got to raise the bar for this guy.
Yeah.
So it became per book for Jesse.
Yeah.
And he would still rack them up. And he would come out with a box full of books. And Joy goes, nothing brings me more joy to Joy. The library. And he would get, the James Michener books, and he would just consume books. And I'm going, dude, it must be like your mom. So I'm not that way. I'm more kinetic and let's fix things and make a thing. But he really ate up the books.
Well, that's good because my son was the type too, was the magazines,
okay.
And my husband was the same way as magazines.
Magazine guy.
And not so much books.
What's a magazine? Do they still
What is a magazine?
Do they make those?
Well, they want a lot of money for
made out of paper.
Yeah. Yeah. Not very much nowadays, but
That's funny, yeah.
Yeah. So
magazines.
That was cool. It was magazines, especially if it had to do with motorcycles or flying or cars or,
Well, that's probably where you were magical and you could bring kids into your magic room full of discovery. Let's get curious. And, here's a magazine on Motor Trend on Shelby Mustangs and rebuilding cars or blah, blah, blah.
If they read and it was all something good.
And that's what always drove homeschool for us was if you could find an interest, you could find a learner really quick.
Right.
So our son, and everybody's a little different. Some are kinetic learners and some are readers. Some are both. And many kids are the audio learners. So they listen. And so I have a daughter that can recite verses from The Office, like whole scenes from Steve Carell in The Office.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, Brianna, that's pretty good. It's also pretty funny. Hi, Brianna.
It's a talent.
It's a talent. So, so what I've learned is that everybody has different learning styles.
That's right.
And some of them are combo, and some of them are latent, and you need to pull that inner reader out of someone, and that's good.
That's what I say. I was always a visual learner, and a lot of it was reading,
Yeah.
and visually seeing it in your mind and just.
And I think it's slowing down. I was able to slow down enough in Amsterdam to read this book. We just came back a couple weeks ago at my son's, and I was bored, and we were babysitting, and I don't want to tell you, I was a little bored doing the babysitting. And I picked up this book on Amsterdam, and it was done by this some journalist. It was really well done, and it told the story of Anne Frank's neighbor in the Jewish neighborhood, and she knew the Franks, and it was kind of and this guy interviewed her. She was in her 80s and when he did this in the 90s, and it was just fascinating. And I'm going, we were just in Amsterdam a day or two before, and so it was all real for me to go, oh yeah, there were 80,000 Jews during the war, and now today there's only 15,000.
Yeah,
and so it's just this whole historical journey, and I go, oh, hey, Joni, I read a book. It was I tell my wife I'm all proud. I actually read a book. So tell us more about the festival.
Well, the festival, the Humboldt County Children's Author Festival, we're celebrating our 50th birthday, which every other year we do the festival. And it started in 1975, which I brought this poster.
Oh, show that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the first poster. So
super authors. Yeah.
So this was it. And there was 15, 16 authors then.
Let's see if there are any names on there. It's all kind of retro, huh? I like that.
Yeah.
That could be an album cover for like ZZ Top or something.
Yeah. So this was the first, and it started with 3 ladies is all it was. Sally Chabot, Sandra Tam, Jenny Astru. And those 3 ladies just were so wanting our children in Humboldt County to read more. So they wanted, so they started it with this is our poster for this year.
Oh yeah, let's show that one.
So this is the 50-year celebration.
Lovely. I like it. So it happens Saturday, October 19th. So what happens between 10 and 2?
Okay. Well, this is actually the poster for the autographing session.
That's the autograph. Okay.
So the authors, we have 25 authors, and they're going to be coming from all over the United States, clear back to New Jersey, on up to Washington, down all over. And they fly in on Wednesday or drive. And we have a reception for them at Morris Graves.
Morris Graves. Better yet.
And that's where from September to October, there's illustrators from their books have an art showing downstairs at the Morris Graves. So we have the reception there, so they can also go see that. Then they're on their own. Then Thursday they visit schools, and we have 59 schools they're going to be visiting.
So they go out to the rural ones out in...
They go everywhere.
In the mountains and everywhere.
We've got schools that have one student who's actually going to tagging on to another school. We have schools that have 500 that are going to do, depending on the age level. So they visit the school all day on Thursday. We have what we call our family dinner, you might say, with committee and authors. We have it catered this year. We usually did potluck, but we're all busy, and we decided we have it catered this year.
Cater that thing. Why not?
Yeah. Then Friday, they go half days.
Okay.
To the schools. And then Eureka City has been so kind last festival, this every other year, to give free passes to the zoo and the skywalk.
Oh, cool.
So Friday afternoon, they can go on the skywalk and the zoo. And then the banquet is Friday night, where it's going to be at Sequoia Center, County Office of Ed.
Perfect.
They get to talk 5 minutes, and that's it. 5 minutes each.
Is there a hook?
There is. We have a committee member who actually figures out a way and has a timing.
That's good.
She figures a fun way to do it. Then Saturday, that is the book sale. Okay. And that is the one that you'll see here. And that's at the county library. And it's from 10 to 2.
Love it.
And it's the autographing and book signing.
Very fun.
And then we have offered now they can stay the nights on Saturday night. So they could visit Humboldt County more if they want to. And all this is done with volunteers and fundraising all around Humboldt County.
So are all the authors from out of the area, 100%?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we have one author who's local. We used to have 3 authors who were local, and they have since moved away, which one of them is coming back.
Oh, nice.
So,
who were they, by the way? Do you know offhand? Do you remember?
The ones that are...
The 3 locals?
It was Mary Nethery, Barbara Curley, and Natasha Wing.
Natasha's the one I thought about.
Yeah.
She's had a couple really good... they've all had good books, but...
She's had a lot of her...
She's memorable. I meant she marketed well.
Yeah, she did. She did. And then Pam Service is still here, but she's... not writing as much anymore, but she came from back east many years ago for festivals, and she ended up moving here to be, she liked Humboldt County so well. Yeah.
So why would that be unique? You'd come here, you go, I love this. This is amazing.
She did.
You know, how many college parents came here to visit and ended up coming?
That's right.
And then the kids probably left after they the folks go, hey, we discovered pay dirt here.
Yeah, well, that's what she did. She decided she liked it here.
Yeah. So the shout out then becomes one of, where would you send folks? Would you send them to social media, to Facebook to discover more about the events, or would you send them to a website?
We have a website, and it's authorfest.org.
Okay.
And our website's set up with the information of the schools and who's going, the authors that are going to those schools, and just other information. We're working on getting more photos on because of our 50-year celebration. We also are working on history. We've been interviewing former students, administrators, teachers, anybody who has memories of it and of the festival. And of course, I always tell people my fondest memory, I'm co-coordinator with two others, Becky Giacomini and Joan Williams. But yeah.
She's on the Women in Health.
Women for Wellness.
Wellness, sorry.
Yes.
Did we see you the other night at the...
I didn't make it
Was
that
she at the
night.
Botanical Gardens? She was. You
She
were
was there.
not. Okay.
No, I was.
She's terrific.
I was up at Neyland School getting the library ready for the first day of school.
Of course you were. Late night librarian work.
Yeah, that was. I was getting that ready. So I had to text Becky and say, I can't make it.
So so in retirement, you still do some librarian stuff?
I do, because I volunteer at Neyland School, and I'm on the Neyland School board. So
and they're small, so they probably don't have a full-time librarian, right?
No, they just have me volunteering and doing. So it's kind of fun because it's volunteer now.
And Neyland's a nice community.
It's a wonderful community.
Yeah. Do you know Rousseau? Rousseau, last name is Rousseau. We know the Weeks, so they... Yeah, Dan Weeks built our house.
And Ed Weeks, I've known his dad.
His daddy, yeah, he was legendary.
Yeah.
And then, Marty Dodd, who runs Six Rivers Optical. Marty lives up there.
Yeah, there's a lot of good people that live up there.
Yeah, it's all Tim Mullen Road, right?
I'm off of Berry Road, which is off of Tim Mullen Road. I look up at Greta's house.
You would know this. Who was Tim Mullen?
Tim, you're going to make me get off on this now.
I've never asked anybody. I figure you might know.
I do know. I know the Mullen family, part of the family.
Are there Mullens up there still?
Yeah, yeah. Joan Williams, that's on coordinator with me, her niece, her background. Her niece is a Mullen, and they're brothers. There is different brothers. I don't know all the history, so I don't want to speak something I don't know for sure, but Tim Mullen was one of the brothers.
Okay. And he developed that or did something?
He had lots of land. Part of my property was probably part of his property at some point.
Let me show America and around the world where that road is. It's right up here.
Okay.
So this is Eureka. Neyland's really like right up here, right?
Are you off the Freshwater Way? Okay, so you go Freshwater up Neyland Road. Yeah, Maple Creek.
You have the advantage of really amazing weather up there. It can get super hot, right, and beautiful. And
yeah, it was 81 at 10:30 this morning.
Yeah, rub that in. Jody had to go for a walk at Blue Lake today because McKinleyville was 49 and foggy, like thick fog. So that's why they trained bombers and whatever in World War II.
Yeah.
So there's some stat too, right, Linda, where the distance from the coast to the mountains of Neyland, the acceleration of the elevation is higher than anything else on the California coast. Where there's some formula that says it gets higher there quicker than anywhere else.
You may know more than I do. I know it's about 25. I'm at 2,500 feet at the top of Neyland, close.
That's where all the antennas are, right?
Yeah,
up
exactly.
On top. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, sidetrack.
So yeah, there we are.
Chase that rabbit.
That's good. I have lots of things I want to talk about. But I'm going to go back to my memory.
Please.
Of 1995 when the new library was being built, because we do the book sale. And years before that, it was in the downstairs of the courthouse in the dungeon.
In the dungeon.
And the library was down there in the dark almost. We called it the dungeon.
Yeah.
So when the new library was built, my husband was project manager for it.
Oh, how about that?
So I was on his case every night at dinner time. Is it going to be done? Is it going to be done?
Yeah.
For the book sale.
Did you have any say in the design?
No, not at all. And he didn't either. He was just project manager.
Yeah.
But it was the biggest book sale we ever had because everybody wanted to come in and see the new library.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
But the other thing I remember
when it opened, it was fancy.
It was 1995, yeah. It was a big deal.
Right behind the Carson Mansion. I mean,
yep.
Interesting location, but I guess they didn't have a lot of choices for land, probably.
No, and they had that land for many years. It was just trying to get the funding and get all the money to build it.
They built a beautiful piece of architecture.
View of the bay,
Yeah, it still looks pretty.
Yeah,
it does. Held well.
Yeah.
I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, so the festival is, like I said, we're celebrating 50 years, and we have now a committee of about 30 volunteers, all volunteers. And I had to bring up, I made this note here when I was reading our history on it. The first festival was $3,000, and they had to fight to get that $3,000 through Friends of the Library, and they had some donations.
Bake sales,
car
wash,
whatever they could think of. And our budget now is $80,000.
Wow.
So we have a good committee that works hard getting funding and stuff. But it's the authors that come are amazing. They love our Humboldt County and the
hospitality. Do they bring a lot of books with them generally?
Well, what we do is the author has to have at least 2 books in publication.
Sure.
And recent, within 5 years. And so we order the books for the book sale. And occasionally you get an author who brings their self-published book or something to sell. But we sell it and we get a certain profit off of it.
Sure.
But we have a committee that's nothing but book sales. So they have to sit down and figure out what books and how many of the books they're going to order for each author.
That's it. And there's some pre-bought, I suppose, for the autograph time, right?
Yeah, those will all be at the book sale. Now, some schools can purchase books of their own and have them for their libraries and get them before the authors come.
Yeah.
Because we encourage the schools, of course, to make sure that those kids know an author's coming. You don't want to have somebody show up and go, oops, who are you?
Huh?
Yeah, and that doesn't happen very often.
Who are you?
We have a great group of schools that stay on top of it.
As opposed to Superwoman and Superman are coming to town. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Have you seen this book they have? It's so cool.
Yeah. They think it's like a star or a movie star or somebody special coming.
Yeah, it's publishing an album or a bunch.
Yeah. When if they've read their book and they realize this is a real person that's writing this book.
Yeah.
And the authors like it because for 25 authors to get together, and they're staying at Carter House. We have them there.
Very cool.
They like it because they can talk to each other. Because, authors,
and the Carters,
as you probably know, is solitude.
And the Carter's just cool.
Yeah,
and it's just down the street from the library. They can walk over.
Yeah. So, so they get a chance to visit and talk with each other, those 25 authors. And they don't ever, we are unique in the nation. We're the only that does like this. There's author festivals where they're in a big stadium or a convention center where they're all sitting around in tables like we're sitting here maybe.
They might have lunch together or something.
Yeah,
but it's
but
one
not
off
to go to a school, especially these rural schools we have.
Right.
Orleans and Wichita.
And touch people and humanity. And that's cool.
So we figure we're very special.
I like that. And it excites, I would imagine it excites staff. They come in and they touch teachers and administrators and librarians and go, hey, reading's cool.
Well, and it's teachers. It's kind of nice for teachers, for the authors to talk to a student and say, hey, when your teacher asks you to write an essay and you have to write it and rewrite it and rewrite it, that's what we have to do as authors.
That's our book.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the process.
Yeah, when the editors get a hold of it and start marking through it.
And then there's the editing thing. Marketing's easy. I remember writing my book, and the hard part was getting it all into a PDF that transferred from a Word doc to a PDF. Because when they transferred over, it would go wonky and do crazy things, and you'd have to go, Kathy, please help, and she'd come back in and fix it and doctor the doc a little bit and get it all dialed in. But and then there's still the comma that lives in space and does weird stuff.
Yeah.
So. What else is on your list? What else did you want to talk about? I got a couple other questions.
Basically, I just want to encourage anybody to come to the book sale and meet the authors and come to the banquet. The banquet at Sequoia, we actually got it where it's $50 for our 50 years.
Wow.
And it's a banquet. And it's a good chance to hear the authors speak. Like, so we have one of our committee members, Shirley, is great at finding, like you say, finding some way, a stoplight, where it's yellow or it's green and then it's yellow and then you're off.
It's an old Toastmasters
You're
trick.
all done. Yeah. So she, exactly. It's like a Toastmasters. And so they speak for 5 minutes because you can imagine we didn't do that years back. And 25 authors, if you just let them go, it was midnight, 1 o'clock before we got done.
Oh my! And everybody's going, why do we come to this and spend money?
The last 2 authors on the list were pretty much, thank you for having us goodbye because we're tired and we don't want.
Do yours in a minute, please.
Yeah.
So I have a funny Toastmasters story for you. I was giving a 7 to 8 minute speech, and I was so excited about it, and I was so jazzed. People around the room, and it turned out it was 23 minutes. It's funny now, but no one found any humor in it at the time. They're going, when will he end? Because it's the height of rudeness. It's like, end it, bro. Yeah. You could go 5 minutes and 5 seconds, but you better be pretty. Dial it in. That's just good speaking.
Well, you do lose your audience. That's why I think even for the sake of the authors, if they keep it at 5 minutes, the people are interested, right? You don't lose them. And some of them have played ukuleles. Some have had songs. Some have had
props.
Yeah. They've had
puppets.
Puppets or stories from the kids or pictures the students have written for them.
A little theater in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So time and date of that dinner at Sequoia Center?
That's October 18th.
That's the
Is that
night
right?
of the 18th,
Yeah, October 18th, Friday night at 5:30.
Okay.
And
$50 buys me a dinner and a whole show. Mm-hmm. And it probably benefits y'all, right? There's a couple bucks in it for 2 years from now, or is there?
Well, the banquet doesn't really, because we, of course, the authors we pay for, and we have our sponsors.
Right.
Humboldt County. Well, I won't try and name them all because I will miss somebody.
Do a shout out. They're right there on the poster.
Thank you.
Let's do it. Let's shout out. So there's some. By the way, let me lead it up to this. There's some killer business people in this community. Would you agree, Nick? That are generous.
There are.
We're as weird as any place in America, but the one thing we got is community.
That's why this works.
And we could be politically weird and diverse, but there's still that element. It used to be really, really powerful, and it's less so, but it's still very alive, and that is, it's a giving community.
Yeah.
And so folks are generous of spirit here.
Well,
and some of them include?
These are our sponsors, as we say, and it depends on the amount of money, which the more money. So these are the sponsors: North Coast Audiology, Fortuna Rotary Foundation, Schmidbauer Family Foundation, First Five Humboldt, McLean Foundation, Rose Perrinan Foundation, Humboldt sponsors, Bob and Jenny Canavari Foundation, Northtown Books, Christ Episcopal Church.
Wow.
And some of them, and of course, the County Office of Ed and the County Library are in-kind services.
City of Eureka, as you said. Yeah.
And the City of Eureka donating. So
shout out.
These are certain ones that are sponsors. And then we have on down, we have business sponsors that can, anywhere from 250, 500,000. Then we have adopt an author. You can adopt an author for, we call it that, for 25, 50, whatever you want to do. So that's a fundraiser that we do.
That's neat.
And then those and at some point, our fundraising ladies who do an amazing job with, and they hope the committee will help them, of course, find donations. They will at some point have a poster up the day of the book sale with all those that have donated also.
Nice. So there's still room to contribute?
Oh, always.
And what's that website again?
Authorfest.org.
And you can contribute there?
No, we haven't got set up yet for.
So you'd have to call a phone number, or?
There is some information on there of how you can do it, get a hold of the committee people, and they will pass on the information.
All these young people in my family, they make me Venmo on my phone and do things and PayPal.
See, we haven't. It's quite a
Zelle.
Quite a setup, I guess. Katie and Martha at Booklaker, the owners, they're on our committee, and they do our website. Yeah. And I think, I'm not good with doing Facebook and stuff, but I've heard we have Facebook.
Is there still a bookstore in Fortuna? Is Fortuna Books still there?
I don't know.
I know Northtown is very much alive.
Northtown is the books that are doing.
Tin Can Mailman still there?
Yes.
Wow.
But Northtown, because they're on here, they're the ones that are doing our book ordering for us. Our book sale committee is going, and they were doing, because what they have to do is they have to purchase all the books, and then at the end of the festival,
get them shipped here.
They have to ship them back.
Oh, and they're experts at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out Northtown.
So Northtown
And
Books is,
Bookleg.
yes. And Booklegger's help for.
So we went to Humboldt. The Tin Can was the coolest place. 'Cause
Oh,
you
it
could
is.
find
It was, yeah.
all the old, whatever old book you were looking for, they had it. And
Yeah.
had them cheap. So high level, then I want to come back to a question. Why is literacy important to kids and to big kids?
Mm-hmm. Well, literacy is all of us, like you say, the big, the little. You know, it's good for your imagination. It's good for learning. It's good for your jobs. You know, you may look at the people. We used to tell the students at South Bay when reading is important. You know, because you're going to have to read at some point to get a job application.
Sure.
You're going to have to read manuals maybe to learn your job. You're going to, and going on to whatever profession you want to do, you're going to have to read up on it.
Right.
And reading, whether it's for fun, but I think everybody should read for fun at some point during your day or week.
Or inspiration.
And literacy, I think it just gives them a confidence too. You know, you see those students who do, all of a sudden the light goes on and they can read, and you have that ability to say, you can do anything now.
Yeah. And it's interesting because literacy's taken, I could say it, has taken a new turn called electronic literacy. With the Kindle or the iPhone or what have you. So I guess that reading counts. I mean, I watch my wife just consume Kindle stuff.
Sure. I mean, they have to read whatever you're reading. You've got to be able to read it.
And I guess there's audiobooks, which is not literacy, but it counts because I'm getting the ideas and the imagination and the whatever inspiration that, you know, so I guess we take it how we can get it.
And I think I tell people that I have a Kindle, but I find in the mornings to hold that book and read that book, turn the page is fun to do.
Yeah. So one thing I think of, and is my headset okay? I can hear everything. Nick's over there. Nick's doing great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nick, for all you do. I really discover that I lost my train of thought. There it goes. Hey, I'm almost 65. I can do that. I can do that now. Get away with it. And let's go on to the next question. No, I was just saying literacy kind of takes a lot of forms today, and it's okay. Whether it's an audio book or a magazine or a literal book or a Kindle.
Right.
Here's my thought. A newspaper. There was the day
the newspaper.
You're hitting my mic too. I never do this. So there's a day where you'd pick up a newspaper.
Yeah.
And you would read it. And it was full of paper and it had stuff in it. It was great.
Yeah.
And you could read the sports page, and the Chronicle had the pink section with the entertainment. That was cool.
Yeah.
And the green section was sports. And it's like, we've lost all that. That literacy's lost, I think. Well, not completely, but
if you read it online, I know a lot of people read online. My son-in-law's from Sweden, and of course he can get the Swedish newspaper online, and read.
What the morning news in Zurich, or wherever, Yeah, I love that. Anything else on your list that you wanted to shout out on or talk about?
Well, I think we've pretty much, I just wanted to again go over the fact that the schools are preparing; they're getting ready. We have what we set up as 5 of us. We call ourselves liaisons to the sites. So we've divided the schools up so we can stay in contact. I have 6 schools, 6 authors, take that back, and 14 schools that I will stay in contact with and make sure they have everything they need. Is there any problems? There's always something that could come up.
Yeah.
Schools have changed some staffing, so we have what we call the site coordinators at each school. So we were working with them. And so we like to get the schedule events out to them because they are invited. Anyone is invited to Morris Graves. And that's from 5 to 6:30 or 7, we decided.
So what day is that? Is that the Thursday night?
That's the Wednesday night.
Wednesday.
On the 17th.
And then you're doing your own gig on Thursday.
And we do our own gig on Thursday. That's right.
Friday night, you're going to go to the
banquet.
Over at the Sequoia Center.
Yeah.
Which is on Beret. It's all behind Beret Center.
Prime.
Yeah.
What was that, the old Franklin School or something like that?
I guess it was. It was a school back in the day, right?
That's the way it is, yeah.
Wow. And then Saturday's the Author Festival. What's the website again? I forget.
Oh, Scott. Authorfest.org.
That's it should be an easy one I should have, you can see I'm not taking notes here.
That's good.
Authorfest.org.
Authorfest.org.
So let's talk about Humboldt for a minute and your participation. So we actually have a small quiz that we do. So thanks for coming. The quiz begins. Are you ready? I've never seen anybody look that. She's going, what are you doing to me? I was just talking about Authorfest. So your favorite things in Humboldt. So this will be easy. This is a piece of cake.
My favorite thing.
Your favorite things. So if you had a day off to do whatever, money wasn't a problem, time wasn't, what would you go do in Humboldt?
In Humboldt?
Yeah.
The zoo.
You'd go to the zoo.
Zoo.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and the skywalk.
Why not?
Yeah.
Have a snack.
Yeah.
There's food.
Yeah. Go say hi to the animals.
Yep. The Skywalk's voted like #1 thing in wherever.
Whenever company comes out of town, I take them to the skywalk.
People love that.
Yeah.
My wife gets really nervous up there.
Oh, yeah?
It doesn't even move that much. I like to make it.
You're the one of those that bounces.
I'm a bouncer, man. See if we can get this thing moving here. She's going to stop. Okay. Question number 2. So where do you go for coffee?
I'm not a coffee drinker, but if I was going to, Ramones, of course.
Okay.
And people tell me whenever they say, why don't we meet for coffee? And I say, well, I don't drink coffee. Not because I just don't care for the taste of coffee.
Fine.
But I say, well, I can have hot chocolate.
There you go.
So I would go to Ramones.
Ah.
And I hear other people, because of their coffee, go to Ramones.
Their coffee's quite good, yeah.
Okay.
The hot chocolate source, though, is Dick Taylor.
Now, you're right.
Oh, weird. I happen to have the logo right here. Hey.
Oh.
They're not really sponsors. I just like, they're great people.
Well, actually, Dick Taylor, we're waiting. Hopefully they will. Last festival, they donated a chocolate bar for each author. We have a bag that we give the authors.
Oh, that's cool.
With, like when you go to a conference and you get all your information and stuff. So Dick Taylor has donated chocolate bars to the authors.
Perfect. Here's a real taste of Humboldt.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a favorite at our house. All right, number 3. Food. Where do you go to dinner? You and your husband get to go anywhere you want. Where do you go?
Larapin's.
Larapin. You know, Larapin's been mentioned a lot. Are you writing this down? We have little hashtags. Larapin wins a lot of this.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, Larapin's very popular. It reminds me, Jody and I haven't been for a while. I want to go because they're just the food, the vibe, the whole thing.
Yeah.
She had jazz on the other morning, and she goes, "Sounds like Larapin, huh?"
Yeah.
I go, we got to go. Why have we because we live up there. We're up by the airport. So
okay, so you're closer.
Larapin's 8 minutes from our 10 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, well, I would say that would probably be, the distance may be different. And if we were going to go closer, it would be somewhere different. Carter House or Sea Grill. But number one, if a company comes from out of town, Larapin's is
it's an experience, yeah. We have a daughter in Boise, and they have some friends. Their names are the Kitchens. And they were traveling through, and they stayed in Trinidad, got to go to Larapin, and they go, this is as good as anything in the whole coast. They said this is, and they're wealthy and well-to-do, and they've ate everywhere. And so, you know, the French Laundry or whatever it is in Calistoga, they go, this is every bit as good as any place. Amazing. And I have to agree. Yeah, it's fun to go there.
Yeah.
So what do you see are opportunities going forward with literacy and Humboldt and education and the things you're doing? What do you see now? What do you want to see happen in the next, I don't know, generation or so? Or maybe, or how about 5 years?
5 years.
Another festival or 2.
Let's see. I'm going to be 75 in a month, so let's see how many years ahead will I be.
Happy birthday.
Well, of course, the festival, hope it keeps going and going like this.
Sure.
Well, you know, we talk about that sometimes at school. Like I said, I'm on the school board at Neyland, and we hope to see education go where the kids are learning more, not just digitally, but hands-on and reading and writing. I think writing has become kind of lost, but I think it's coming back from what I hear.
Yeah.
And so, you want to see those students enjoy education. And it doesn't mean, School to Career used to be a program that I was part of for Humboldt County. And School to Career didn't also necessarily mean you had to be preparing for the big university, because that scares some kids, but it's preparing for whatever you want to do.
Right.
And that
Trades,
means,
whatever.
and you need to learn that in education first, your elementary, junior high, high school. and
That's
move
good.
on.
Yeah. So service industry, trades,
Yes.
university, whatever.
Yes.
Foreign Legion.
Foreign Legion. The French Foreign Legion.
Military. It all counts.
That's right. That's right.
I love it. And I think it's a great thing to be part of. So let's talk about your legacy. What do you want to be remembered for, Linda? And what's it say in your gravestone?
Boy, my legacy. I can remember at South Bay School when I retired, we had built a new library, and I said I wouldn't retire until I at least had 5 years in that new library.
Mm-hmm.
I had 7.
Oh, wow.
So then somebody said, oh, maybe we should name it the Linda Lorvig Memorial Library. And I said, well, not yet.
Not yet. Not quite yet. Maybe later.
But I hope, you hope you have touched a lot of students and you hope that they got something, and maybe that reading and literacy, I was a little part of them being readers.
Right.
And you just hope in your legacy, I think overall, that you're remembered as a good person, that you did something for the community, not as much as some, but maybe in my way.
Amen. Yeah, no, I think you lean into that which you're given, and I love that because I think it's that those little interpersonal connection relationship things is what this is all about.
Yeah.
It's not everybody gets to stand in the stadium and be, Frank Sinatra or Tony Robbins or, an amazing, I'm trying to think of a good Taylor Swift.
Oh,
there.
I don't know.
Everybody gets to be
That's scary.
Yeah. But I think it starts with that organic touch. And I think I love it when you say, hey, I think I made a difference in some kids' lives. And now they're adults and parents and grandparents.
Yeah.
And gee, what if they were teaching literacy to their kids and passion for reading or whatever, and feeding their kids' passions?
Well, and that's what you do. I knew there's some students that I've met that have gone on to teaching, and of course others. But yeah, just that little bit of knowing that you did something. And I think that's why when I retired, it took me a few years to just kind of settle down. And then going to Neyland School was my way of saying, I'm not done with you guys yet.
Yeah.
I still want to be part of your
love it
reading, even though I'm volunteering once a week.
Part of your life.
Part of my life, those young ones.
I love it. Well, I appreciate you coming. Let's do one more shout out. That website one more time in case people missed it.
Authorfest.org.
And you can go on that and find it on the World Wide or on the web. On the
www.
Man, one clumsy podcast, I've hit my mic and can't say things.
Well, I feel better because since it's new to me, I'll see.
No, and we're going to get you copies and you can send it out everywhere. So, look forward to being there. I'm sure my wife and I are going to come and buy some books for the grandkids.
We love that. And that's what we tell people. If you don't have kids at home anymore, look at those grandkids, look at neighbor kids, whatever, or just come to meet the authors and buy a few books for us and support us.
What a great thing to have, like organic people from elsewhere come and we could shake their hands and hang out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Saturday is the event, 10 to 2. And that's at the library.
At the county main library.
Right. The foot of whatever street. Is it MNO? It's one of those.
Oh, you're going to.
It's behind the Ingomar.
It's behind the Ingomar.
It's behind the Carson Mansion.
Yeah.
If you miss it.
Yeah.
And then Friday night is the other event.
That's the banquet at the Sequoia Center.
Okay.
The County Office of Ed.
Can't miss that. $50.
And $50 for dinner and beer and wine will be on the table.
Really?
Yeah.
Included with the $50?
Yes.
Hear that, beer and wine people? That's
and
a bargain.
Entertainment. You hear the authors.
That'll be fun.
And you hear Becky and Joan and I first, very briefly.
You're going to speak briefly? Yeah, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
There's a red card.
5 minutes for the three of us together.
Okay. Got it. Okay. And then Thursday night's your own thing, right?
Yes.
And then Wednesday nigh's?
At the Morris Graves.
Morris Graves.
And everyone is invited if you want to come meet an author. And September 7th, I think, to the October 19th. I know I'm going to be in trouble. Here it is. It says Morris Graves, September 7th through October 5th. They're going to do on the Saturdays, Arts Alive.
Oh.
And then September 7th through October 27th, the illustrations will be at Morris Graves downstairs. And those are illustrations either the authors have done themselves for their books or their illustrators.
Imagine they would have a few books there to sign to or to sell.
I don't think
Maybe
they
not.
will.
Okay.
Yeah, no, not during that.
But they could send people on to their websites and go get them.
And that website is?
I forget now.
Authorfest.
Authorfest.org.
There you go. Good, Scott.
Authorfest. One last thing on the Morris Graves. So they were all the Carnegie Library chain that he funded.
That's right.
Because he was a steel magnate, right?
He
was a steel
Yes, he
guy.
was. And he had millions. And back in those days, millions was
billions.
Yeah.
And they built these libraries in rural America over decades, right?
Yes, they did.
And I want to say over 2,000. There was a lot of them.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But the Carnegie, and the Carnegie was our library well before my time here.
It was. Oh,
and then
that was
when they
the
went
library.
to the county library, then Carnegie became, that's where the staff and administration for the library was.
Oh, really?
And then, of course, when we built the new library, everybody got to go together, and then it became the Morris Graves Art.
Beautiful museum. Yeah. It's a beautiful building.
It is. It's the acoustics in there, if you ever go there for music, things is wonderful.
When I worked at the Tri-City newspaper, when there was newspapers.
Tri-City.
Ron Pileggi. Hi, Ron. Ron helped Sally Arnott. Is that how you say it? And that committee fundraised for that and buy the bricks for $100.
Yeah.
And they did that whole thing for, a few years, and they really restored that beautifully.
They did.
It's a neat building.
That's why it's another way for our authors that come to see one of our first jewels is to be there.
That'll be a cool place to send folks. That'll be neat.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thanks, Linda, for coming.
Thank you, Scott, for having me. I enjoyed this.
I look forward to coming out and supporting that, and everybody else too. And so appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.